So, you're thinking about moving to Jacksonville. That's great. I truly believe that this city really does have something for everybody, regardless of your age. However, I've seen far too many guys that just highlight what's great about the city and doesn't really highlight any of the deficiencies we have, which I know would be deal breakers for a lot of people that are thinking of moving here. In this video, we'll be going over my honest review of 7 different topics I think you should consider before moving to Jacksonville. Some that might be excellent for you and others that might be deal breakers. Let's get into the video. Number 1, let's talk about weather. Now, first and foremost, we do have a temperate climate compared to our other southern counterparts here in Florida. We are not Miami. We are not always at 70 degrees and you never take off your shorts. We do have winter months, a little bit of fall weather, a little bit of spring weather. We do drop below freezing every now and then, and I promise you that 32 degrees is a lot colder than it sounds here in Jacksonville because of the humidity. And speaking of humidity, yes, it is very hot and sticky here, especially in the summer months. Also, be aware of the fact that in the summer, you're likely gonna see your utility bill go up at least $100 a month. It happens, so don't say I didn't warn you. Number 2, let's talk about size. Yes, Jacksonville is the largest city in the continental US. I know that surprises a lot of people, but there is 875 square miles here in Jacksonville. The city is huge, and when I say there is something for everybody, I mean it. There is something for everyone. We don't really have any traffic. You might hear people say we have traffic here, but we really don't. We do every now and then. We have like Blanding Boulevard, so that is a nightmare to traverse. But besides that, it's actually relatively easy to get around the city. We have I-295 and I-95 that gets you just about anywhere quickly. The big difference though, compared to a lot of other cities, is just the sheer distance between point A and point B on most occasions. It takes a long time to get across town. For instance, I live on the south side over in a community called Mandarin. And on the north side, let's say we're going to even Yulee or somewhere closer, Ocean Way, right? That takes about 35 to 45 minutes for me, and that's without traffic. And when I say traffic, I mean add 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe it's a bad accident and you're talking about a standstill for a little bit till they clean it up, or people stop looking at it as they drive by. That is still a thing you universally see. I don't get, why do people do that? Doesn't make any sense to me. Number 3, let's talk about travel. And in general, let's talk about transit. When you come to Jacksonville, if you are thinking about moving here, definitely have a car. Our public transit system is severely lacking. Our public transit service is called JTA, or the Jacksonville Transit Authority. We have buses and they're good. They're good. They're getting a lot better than they used to be, but we're still about a decade behind where we should be, especially for a city of our size and our population. We are undergoing a ambitious project. It's called the U2C, which stands for the Ultimate Urban Circulator. But make no mistake about it, I don't expect to see that anytime soon, and it is very infantile. We address that though. We're talking about a major upgrade for our city, one of my biggest gripes with the city. One of the plus sides about travel here in Jacksonville is we do have the Jacksonville International Airport. That connects to one of the busiest airports in Atlanta, so it's fairly easy to get around the states, and you don't have to worry so much about expensive parking or bad travel times. It's very easy to get to your gate in Jacksonville. Next, let's talk about number 4, which is safety. Now, this is one of the most contentious topics here in Jacksonville, for good reason. If you look on a data map, it looks pretty grim. We have a crime index of 8 according to Neighborhood Scout, which means that we are only safer than 8% of cities here in the US. Again, this sounds bad, but I promise the crime is very localized. It's in pockets of the city, and on a lot of cases, it's a street-by-street basis. There can be like an incredible street, and then the next street over, you got one that you probably want to avoid, especially one that's dimly lit at night. Take, for example, Murray Hill. Murray Hill is a very interesting neighborhood. On the data map, you can see it doesn't look great. And there are definitely some areas, but it's not all like that. There are definitely some cool little houses over there. There's some nice spots to grab some food or get something to drink. It's a cool part of the city, for sure, but there are places, like most cities, that you want to avoid. Now, we'll cover more about safety in a later video, especially on a neighborhood basis. We'll be doing a series that do community spotlights, and we'll be highlighting some of the best neighborhoods and stuff. But for right now, go ahead and check out that link below that will send you to the Neighborhood Scout website that I'm talking about. Number 5, let's get into the economy. Now, the economy here in Jacksonville is very insulated. What I mean by that, well, especially during COVID times, it's important to have an insulated economy. It's one that has a lot of essential services, that there will always be a need for that industry. Now, our 3 biggest industries are the Navy. We have 3 naval bases here, major naval bases. We have NAS Jax, Mayport, and Kings Bay. We also have logistics, huge industry here because of our access to the ocean, the Atlantic in general. We have a huge waterway in the St. Johns River, as well as a ton of different distribution centers like Walmart's distribution center. Amazon has a few distribution centers here. We also have Winn-Dixie, Publix, and the list goes on and on. It is definitely a big industry here. On top of that, we have a very favorable business climate here. We have no state and local income tax, pro-business legislation, as well as a focus on innovation here in Florida in general, and Jacksonville is definitely picking up on that. Outside of those things though, if you aren't in those 3 major industries, if you aren't a small business owner or looking to start a business here, the opportunities are kind of limited. And what I mean by that is we don't really have those big employers that you see in other cities. We have a growing financial sector. It's led by FIS that's headquartered here in Jacksonville. It is getting better. We do have a few tech startups, but no really established opportunities. So my advice for you is if you are moving to Jacksonville, definitely have a job lined up for when you get here. Number 6, let's talk about the education system here, especially if you're a parent of somebody in grades K through 12. We have one of the broadest spectrums of schools I've ever seen, Duval County especially. We have some schools that are incredible, like Darnell Cookman and Paxson and Stanton College Prep and Douglas Anderson. It's crazy how many choices you have. However, if you compare those schools to the West Side schools especially, that are severely underfunded, it's heartbreaking, really. We definitely need some revitalization for those schools that are underfunded and underserved, and those kids just don't have as much opportunity as they should. We also have some incredible schools at St. Johns County, which is one of the best counties in America for academics. Now, they get a lot of top grades and a lot of your standard academic areas, but take it with a grain of salt, because not everybody's education needs are the same. That's why I love Jacksonville, because we do have that broad spectrum. So make sure you do your homework, because we also have Clay County, which is an incredible school district. We also have Nassau County, which has great schools in there as well. The point being is make sure you do your homework, because schools can be a make or break point for a lot of people, and you want to make sure that you put your kid and set him up for success depending on his needs. If you have any questions about those, I'd love to set you up with either myself, or if I can't answer your questions, somebody who is a local expert on the education system and can identify what your kid needs and put them in the right area for them to succeed. Finally, let's talk about activities. Now, like I said, and you guessed it, there is something for everyone here. Of course, we have our Jacksonville Jaguars, which look poised to be one of the most interesting teams in the coming season due to the hiring of Coach Urban Meyer, our top draft pick, and our large amount of cap space. We also have some lesser known teams here, like the Jacksonville Armada soccer team. We have the Jumbo Shrimp, which is our local baseball team that's minor league. We also have my personal favorite, the Jacksonville Icemen, which is our minor league hockey team. Those games are so much fun and they're very cheap to go to, so it's always something to do as far as sports go. Obviously, we have the beach too, and it has come a long way, I promise you. The beach used to be a very iffy spot like 15 years ago. It was not a place you wanted to go. You actually wanted to make the trek down to St. Augustine, which I still encourage you to go to St. Augustine. It's a very, very cool city. You avoided the beaches though. It's not the case anymore. They've actually come a long way over the past few years. The beaches area offers something for everybody, from families to a bustling nightlife We have 22 miles of beach. It's pretty great. We also have great restaurants which cover just about anything your palate could want. Jacksonville is definitely a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures. My biggest gripe though, it's a big one too, is that we're lacking a focal point. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're looking for a bustling, vibrant urban life, you're not gonna find it here in Jacksonville, not yet at least. We have, it's very fragmented downtown. There isn't a great spot, and they're talking about a bunch of different developments, but like a lot of things in Jacksonville, it's just potential right now until they put pen to paper. On top of that, we have a bunch of different cool areas, but they're all lacking something. The place I can see being a focal point for Jacksonville is the St. John's Town Center. It is pretty great right now. It is one of the more complete areas of town. It focuses a lot on shopping. It has great restaurants. There's definitely some good bars and stuff, but there isn't a whole lot of traversability. I wish there was more walkability. You didn't have to call an Uber every time you wanted to go somewhere different. That would be awesome. And I wish they would take something from the Atlanta Beltline, for instance. That would be great and exactly what Jacksonville needs. So again, my biggest gripe with the city is that you have cool stuff in like Orange Park, for instance. Leaderboard Arcade is a great little spot. It's a little pub, arcade, bar area. But if you want to go from there to, let's say, Southside, you want to go over to St. John's Town Center, that takes about 30 minutes. And from there, you want to go downtown, your friends that are downtown, that takes about 30 minutes. And from there, if your friends are at the beaches, guess what? It takes about 30 minutes to get there as well. And the only way you can do that, especially if you've been living it up, is by Uber. There's no transit system. So we are definitely lacking, but there still is something for everybody. You just have to be prepared for either paying an Uber or doing it yourself or staying in one spot. In summary though, I think Jacksonville is a great city, and just putting away my real estate advisor cap for a little bit, I love it here. For most people, I think it would earn a 7 out of 10, especially if they are in the right place and in the right environment. For me, it's definitely an 8 out of 10, probably even higher than that. Again, trying to put bias away. I think there's definitely work to be done. However, if you look at where we were and where we're at right now, you can see it's heading in the right direction. Have any other questions about Jacksonville? I'd love to help you out. You can give me a call or shoot me a text at 904-615-9007. You can also send me an email, Bryson@BrysonPowers, or find me at the socials, which are, again, linked below. That about does it for me. Let me know in the comments section below, what you think about making Jacksonville your home? What do you love about it? What do you hate about it? What's a deal breaker that would be vital for your family to have here? Do you still have questions? Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And until then, that does it for me on this video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.